for Year 8 biology. First, we're going to use this sheet, and then we're going to use this sheet, these study tables, I call them. Okay? So, first of all, we need to talk about the two basic cell types. Two cell types. Yep. Can you even... Oh, it's not even on the sheet. Oh, no, it is. It's just adapting. It's getting dark and light and dark. Right. So, we've got... What's one cell type?
Animal.
No!
Eukaryote.
Prokaryote. And eukaryote. What does the word prokaryote mean? Before the nucleus. Pro means before, carry means nucleus in like Latin-y, Greekish stuff. Okay, so it's before the nucleus, so it has no nucleus, and eukaryote means true nucleus, so it has a nucleus. Right? What sorts of cells don't have a nucleus? What sorts of things are bacteria? I told you the answer. What sorts of things are prokaryotes? Bacteria. All right, and these ones over here, there are 4 kingdoms. Animals, plants. You can't just rattle all that off. You have to tell the science joke. What did the girl mushroom say to the boy mushroom? You're a real fun guy. And the 4th one? Starts with P, ends in rotist. You are good. Right, so we've got plants, animals, fungi, and I'll write this one out. Protist. Okay? Both still have DNA. Except this DNA is not found inside a nucleus. It's just a big tangle on the inside of the cell. And these guys have DNA inside a nucleus. All good? Then these guys have no membrane bound organelles. And these guys over here do have membrane bound organelles. Okay, so the things that prokaryotes have, they have ribosomes, they have a cell wall, they have a cell membrane, and they can have a flagella. Flagellum is singular. What's a flagellum? Like a tail. It is a tail. We say it's a whip-like tail. Okay? So it whips about and makes the bacterium go forwards. But it's not like driving a car. It just randomly goes in different directions. Okay? This one over here has all of the organelles we're about to talk about. Okay? So it has ribosome, mitochondrion, chloroplasts, etc. Okay? So these ones are very simple. The prokaryotes are very simple cells. Okay? They're also, we can write it here, we'll stick it in here, these are unicellular. How many wheels does a unicycle have? One. So unicellular means one cell, or it's just one cell by themselves. And these guys over here are multicellular. What's multi mean?
Multiple.
Many. So it's many cells stuck together. So these are very simple life forms. These are very complex life forms. Okay? So we say that all life is made up of cells. Okay, so and all cells have a few things that they all have in common. Yep, they have to be able to sense the environment, they have to be able to respond to the environment, they have to be able to move, they have to be able to create energy. Yep. Right. Have to be able to reproduce. Right. So that's the things that all life has in common. Then from that all life, there are two branches, one being a prokaryote, very simple, very basic. First cells on Earth were prokaryotes, and then they evolved into more complex eukaryotes. All good? Now, what we're going to talk about is we're going to go through the different organelles that are on here, and I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about each one, and then we're going to talk about how you would draw it in a cell, and we're going to talk about its function. Okay, so I'll rub all this off. Okay, so all cells have a cell membrane. It's a thing that goes around the outside of the cell. So cell membrane it decides what goes in and out of a cell. All right, so it separates in from out. So if it's inside the cell, this is called intracellular, and outside the cell would be called extracellular. So the cell membrane separates outside the cell from inside the cell. Yep. I'm riding on a bit of a hill there, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Okay. So it decides what enters and leaves. Enters and leaves the cell. Okay, and if you do science in later years, then you understand how it happens. We just need to know in year 8 that it does happen. It lets in some things, stops other things from going in, all right? So we say it gives you the cell integrity in that it can decide what enters and leaves. Okay? But it's very easy to draw. It's just a line around the outside of a cell. Okay? Maybe I'll write in black. Switch it up a little bit. I know. Will you be able to cope with that? Is that living on the edge too much? Right. You know what they say? If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. Deep. I know. Deep. When you go home, you can say, Mum, you know what? If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. That will just go right.
So the cell membrane's just a line?
Sorry?
The cell membrane's just a line, isn't it?
It is just drawn as a line, yep. Now, the next one we'll do is a cell wall. Oh, that looks better. the cell wall. Now this one is just for structural support. The cell wall is just for structural support because it's porous. What does porous mean?
Holes?
Sorry? It does. It has little holes in it. So things has pores in it. So things can come and go, but it's only used for structure. Right? Just keeps the structure around the outside of it. And there are 3 cells that have a cell wall. So it's porous, but it's also rigid. So it provides the shape for whatever cell you're talking about. And we've got bacteria have a cell wall. Plants have a cell wall. And then the fungi has a cell wall, but they're made of different things. Do you want me to tell you what they're made of? You don't have to know it in year 8, I don't think, but you never know. Do you want to know? Right. Bacteria, this is a big word though. Are you ready for a big word? Right. It's made of peptidoglycan. Big word. What does peptidoglycan mean? You don't know, but I thought I'd ask. It's made up of amino acids and sugars. Okay? Plants, you might know what the cell wall of a plant's made of.
Coke?
Who? Starts with C. Cellulose. Cellulose is a type of sugar. All right? And then fungi. People say chitin, but it's pronounced chitin. But it's written down as chitin. 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 All right? And they're just used for structure of the cell. Okay? It's like a barrier, protective barrier. Right? But it can't stop things coming and going. It's just like a wall. Okay? Next one. Shall we start with the easiest one first? Sorry, yeah? Are you in Amelia's class? Amelia Biaggi?
Yeah.
Right. Then you might know this word because she's been practicing it. Not that Amelia is with us today, but this one is called a ribosome. This one's called a ribosome. Okay, and it makes proteins. We say it's the site of protein synthesis, which is the fancy way of saying it, but you can just say it makes proteins. Okay, whenever the cell needs to make proteins, it uses ribosomes. And I'll draw one for you if you like. It took me years to draw. Years of practice. Are you ready? Don't get upset if you can't do this. Okay? I know. I know.
I'm writing that down. Mr. Brown, how do you draw the cell wall?
Sorry?
How do you draw the cell wall?
It's just, when you draw a cell wall, it's normally just a straight line outside of the cell membrane.
So is it on the very outer?
Yes, on the very, very outside. And we'll talk about when we start doing cells later.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's a ribosome. All good? Right. Next on that mind map, we've got a lysosome. A lysosome breaks down food. So we say it breaks down matter. breaks down matter. Okay, so we're talking about if one of the organelles breaks, it gets broken down and recycled inside the cell, or if the cell has gone off and caught some food, that's how it breaks it down. Okay, and the lysosome is normally a circle with little dots in it, and those little dots there are enzymes. Enzymes are proteins that break down matter. Good? Right. Next one is one of the biggies, a mitochondrion. Mitochondrion is singular, mitochondria is plural. Okay? And it makes ATP. Because I know Juliet's learned what ATP is. Do you know what ATP is? Juliet, do you remember?
Is it like the energy?
It is the energy inside a cell. Right? Which is the energy inside a cell. Okay, and what process makes the ATP? All of your cells are doing it right now. Right at this very minute, your cells are making ATP with this process. Starts with C, ends in alveolar respiration. You guys are very good with just the smallest clue. Right. So we say it's the site of cellular respiration. It's where cellular respiration occurs. So inside every one of your cells, it's using the food that you've eaten to make ATP. Okay, because the food gets broken down and then put into the mitochondrion that makes ATP. Right, and then this one is a bit of a funky diagram. Right. Okay, that's what a mitochondrion looks like. So if you see something funky, we know it's a mitochondrion. All right. Good. Now that one has it. This is a membrane-bound organelle, so it's only found in eukaryotes. Okay. Next one, we'll do another big one. Are you ready for two big ones in a row?
Yes.
Right. This one is called a chloroplast. A chloroplast. What sorts of organisms have chloroplasts?
Plants and algae.
Plants.
And algae.
Plants and algae. Algae don't have chloroplasts. Oh yes, they're protists. You're right, they do. Plants and some protists, like algae. Good?
Yeah.
What do they do?
They like colour.
Yeah, they do provide colour. Photosynthesis. Site of photosynthesis. And when we draw it, it's got these stripes. Right. And in year 8, you don't know what the stripes are called. They're just, in case they do ask you, they're called thylakoids. But you're probably not going to be asked that in year 8. Okay? If you see an organelle that looks like that with stripes in it, it's going to be a chloroplast. Okay? And it's where photosynthesis occurs. But not all of the cells in a plant have chloroplasts. Which ones in a plant would have chloroplasts?
The green ones?
Yeah, the leaves. Would the trunk have it?
No.
In some plants, the trunk has it. Would the roots have it?
No.
Why not?
Because they don't.
How do you know that a root doesn't have chloroplasts?
Underground.
Very well done. It's not exposed to sunlight. It can't photosynthesize. Right. Are you ready? The next one is centrioles. Centrioles. These are used in cell division. And when we draw centrioles, they come as a pair. Right? So this is my attempt at drawing a 3D structure in 2D. Okay? Okay, when it comes time for cell division, they open apart. You know those table tennis nets that come as a tube and then you pull them apart and the net appears between them? That's exactly how it went. All right, so these two things, they split in half, and as they split in half, they have little ropes between them. Okay? Interestingly, these only occur in animal cells, but we'll talk about that later. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, and the next one, we've done chloroplast, flagellum we've done. Starch granules. Starch granules aren't very interesting, but we'll do it anyway. Okay? So good? A starch granule is only found in plants. A starch granule is just a sphere that's coloured in and it's filled with starch, which is a chain of glucose molecules. So it's used for storing glucose. All good, so we'll go on to the nucleus now. All good? Right. Now, nucleus. Which cell types have a nucleus and which ones don't?
Eukaryotes have one.
Eukaryotes have one, and what doesn't? Prokaryotes don't. Right, so a nucleus holds DNA in eukaryotes. Okay? And it's inside a cell, it looks like this. So it holds the DNA. Now you can't see the DNA normally, but it's in there and it's controlling the cell. All right? This is called, around the outside, it's called a nuclear membrane. Okay? And so things can come and go from inside the nucleus to inside the cell. Okay? But a nucleus is only found in eukaryotic cells, so animals, plants, protists, and fungi. Bacteria don't have a nucleus. They do have DNA, but they don't have a nucleus. It's not wrapped in this membrane. Okay? Right, so one of my favourite ones, endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. So they're used for transport. Okay. So if here is the bottom of the nucleus, normally the endoplasmic reticulum is attached to the nucleus. And the endoplasmic reticulum looks like this. Okay. One type has lots of ribosomes on it, and the other sort doesn't. So which of these, what would you say, how does this membrane look to you without the ribosomes? Smooth. So this one is actually called the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and that transports carbohydrates. Transports right carbs. So sugars and fats, carbohydrates. The one with the ribosomes on it looks rough, and it's called a rough endoplasmic reticulum. And because it's got ribosomes on it, what would it transport?
Protein.
Protein. Well done. Transports protein. All good? Now, just below the endoplasmic reticulum, we've got another important organelle. This one, if you want to think of it, is like a stack of pancakes dripping with maple syrup. All right, so when we look at it, if we would draw this one, normally the endoplasmic reticulum is joined onto this one. All right, so when we go here, all right, and this one, does anyone know what this one is called?
Golgi apparatus.
Well done, the Golgi apparatus, or sometimes called the Golgi complex or Golgi bodies. But I like Golgi apparatus.
Mr. Canal, I have a question.
I have an answer.
How can you tell the difference between the Golgi bodies and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum?
Because the Golgi bodies have vesicles.
They have vesicles, okay. So the small balls.
Yes.
Okay.
Because those vesicles, I'll start from the start, the stuff is transported from or in the endoplasmic reticulum, right? And because it's then joined into the Golgi apparatus, not for year 8, for higher than year 8, it stores, modifies, and packages organic molecules for transport in and out of the cell, or within and out of the cell.
Right. Okay.
But for the year 8s, they just need to know that anything that is made inside the cell can be packaged into these vesicles.
Okay. So, cool. Sorry, I was just, because I've got a brother in year 8 and I was doing some stuff with him. Yeah.
Well, he'll be able to watch this video. And now you'll have an input. But that's Womo. He might not watch.
Oh, we'll see. I'll get him. Oh, are you live streaming at the moment?
No, I'm just recording on camera.
Oh, I'll encourage you.
Do you want to come and put your head in there so now he has to watch?
Yes, sure. I'll let him know.
What?
I just chipped on my shoelace.
You have to send him a message now.
Yes, a message.
No, you have to come and tell
I don't
him.
want to distract the
No, it's already distracted.
Oh, God. Hey, Will. Hope you're watching this video.
There you go. Now it's officially
Yeah.
tow mode.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, that's cool. Thank you for letting me know.
No problem. So over here, this is called the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus. All right, and these balls at the end, as I was telling Tomo, these are called vesicles. Depends which university you went to. Some people say vesicles, some people say vesicles. Tomato.
Do many people say universities?
Huh?
Do many people say universities?
I don't know. Do many people say tomato or tomato? Do many people say vesicle or vesicle? What do you say, Tomo?
Vesicle, tomato, university.
Right. There's the Tomos of the world.
Well, you did just call it a vesicle, so I was just going.
Well, you can call it a vesicle if you want to, if you want to live on the edge.
Oh, no.
Because you know what they say?
What do they say?
If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room.
This is good.
Do you never say that?
Not often.
But you're going to say that to your mum when you get home tonight. You're going to say, Mum, do you live on the edge? And she'll probably say no. And then you can say to her, you know what they say?
Yeah.
If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room.
I look forward to saying that to her.
All right. And then don't say it to her when she's got a knife in her hand.
Just in case.
Because you might become a knife holder. You know?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then we've got the vacuole. So I'm going to rub that off. Yep. You're quite sick there, Julian. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I was sick like last week.
Right. So I thought you'd just come here and spread it to everyone else.
Oh no, I'm not sick anymore.
Right. So a vacuole is used for storage. Right. If we were to draw one, it's just a shape. But we'll talk about the differences later on when we start doing the cell types. Okay, there's no right way and wrong way for drawing a vacuole. But we'll talk about the differences in just a minute. All good? Right, so now, armed with all of that knowledge, we're going to use this sheet here, which is looking at the different cell types. So the one that's orange is a bacterium. The one that looks like a snowman is a fungi. The one that looks like a hexagon is a plant cell, and the one that's a big circle is an animal cell. Okay. But I have a video on my YouTube that goes through all the different organelles. Okay.
I just want to ask something about the second test for
All good. So we'll start off we keep it at a nice simple level about the sorts of things you do need to know. Okay. Because my year 11s also use this study table. Does that scare you?
It's strange.
Why? They just have to know a little bit more than you do. Just a little bit, but not much. Okay? Right. So with a bacterium, right? It's got an outer wall. What would that be called? It's used for support.
Cell wall.
Cell wall. And what's the cell wall in a bacterium made of? Oh, that fancy word again.
Oh, the big one.
Peptilican.
It's called glycan.
It has been played out on multiple
Or you could say peptidoglycan. Or you could say that's another way of pronouncing it. It's like vesicle and vesicle. Peptidoglycan and yeah. Right. Cell wall on the outside. Now there's a membrane on the inside of that. And that decides what goes in and out of the bacterium. And what do we call that? The cell membrane. Now, we need to know there is water inside a cell. Do you know what the water inside a cell is called? Starts with C. Do you need another clue?
Yes, please.
A big clue or a small clue?
Small.
A small clue. C-Y.
A big clue.
Starts with C, ends in itoplasm.
Cytoplasm.
Well done. Cytoplasm. So the water inside a cell is called a cytoplasm.
Where is the bottom? I think
So the cell inside every one of your cells, about 60 to 70% of the cell, all the cells you have, are filled with water, and the water inside a cell is called a cytoplasm.
Which one is cytoplasm? Is that
On the well, just somewhere on the inside there.
is it that one?
It could be one of the little ones down the bottom here. It really doesn't matter. Right, no, those ones you've marked are flagella. Oh, it's got several different types, but we won't worry. You guys don't need to know the super amounts of knowledge for a bacterium, but some of the hairs are sticking out. So some of there's this one here, that's the flagellum. All right? Year 8 level. It's got a whip-like tail used for locomotion, and that's called a Starts with F, ends in flagellum. Guys, as long as you get those little clues, you guys are fine. A flagellum. All right. Interesting. That's my middle name. Damien Flagellum Canellum. It's not really. I just like to.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Right. Now, it doesn't have a nucleus, but it does have DNA. And so its DNA just looks like this. It's a one big tangled mess. Okay, that's the DNA. But inside a bacterium, it's got a special name. So it's DNA, but its real name is a nucleoid. And it's got one other organelle in there. Who? No. Ribosomes. Yes. So here are the ribosomes. And that's how bacteria makes you sick, because it makes proteins with the ribosomes that your body doesn't like. So that's what makes you unwell. Okay? That's what you need to know for a bacterium.
That's this extra right on the diagram.
You don't need to know them. Okay? You don't need to know them. In year 8, you don't need to know those sorts of things. We'll just keep it to what you need to know in year 8. When you get to year 11, I'll teach you the rest. Right. If you make it to year 11, you might not survive year 8. Especially if you tell your mother, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room, and you might not even see you tomorrow.
What if you move schools?
Sorry?
What if you move schools?
Come back to the
You
school
do.
alone.
Then you'll have to come whatever school I'm at.
Yeah.
What are you saying? I'm going to get sacked.
No.
What?
You just can't leave.
I can leave if you want me to. Right. No, I'm going to get attacked.
What if we leave?
We'll come back.
All right.
For this.
We'll come to this
So
study.
this one is for now fungi. All right. So this is the one that looks like a snowman.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this one up here is called a bud, because the way that fungi reproduce is that a little bit buds off and breaks into a new organism. Okay, so it's called a bud. All right. Then down here, oh, what was that one? Nucleus.
What's the nucleus? The one that's pointing in the middle, the one that's pointing on the dot. Green one, the big green.
All right, has a nucleus. Yep. It has two structures towards the outside. It has one on the very outside. It has one a little bit further in from that. So which one is on the outside and which one's on the inside?
Cell walls on the outside.
Cell walls on the outside. And what's on the inside? Cell membrane.
What are you doing? Which one?
This one.
That one?
What's the cell wall made of in a fungi? Chitin. Well done. Okay, then here I'm going to do a... Yep, and then the bottom one's going to have dots on it. And the top's not going to have any dots on it. So what's that whole thing called?
An endoplasmic reticulum.
Well done, an endoplasmic reticulum. I'll move on to what's it there? endoplasmic reticulum. And what do you call the section that's got ribosomes on it? Rough. And the one without? Smooth. All right. Then on the bottom of that, it does look different because I'm not drawing exactly the same structure, but yours is there. So you've got an endoplasmic reticulum just on the outside, and then up here-ish is the Golgi apparatus.
Then which one's the...
Sorry?
Which one's the endoplasmic reticulum?
The endoplasmic reticulum is just on the outside the nucleus.
Oh, that.
So there's that one and there's that one.
Oh, okay. So it's
Okay.
the other way around.
It really is, as long as you can tell the difference between an endoplasmic reticulum and a Golgi apparatus. The way you tell the difference is the Golgi apparatus has the vesicles or the vesicles off the side. All right? Golgi apparatus. Right? And that's with its vesicles. All your vesicles. Tomato, tomato. University, university.
Is it
Sorry?
Is it okay? Never mind.
What do you say, vesicle or vesicle?
Vesicle.
You say vesicle. You say vesicle or vesicle?
Vesicle. But is there one?
Do you say vesicle or vesicle? Do you say vesicle or vesicle?
Is there one as well?
Maddie, do you say vesicle or vesicle?
Definitely vesicle.
Oh.
All the way.
Mr. Walsh, vesicle or vesicle? Oh. I like vesicles, but I have met some people who like vesicles. Okay, right. Oh, and then it has like a fluid inside the cell called. It's made of water mainly.
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm, which is mainly water. Okay, and then, oh, I'll have one of these things. Remember, it doesn't really have any particular shape. Vacuole, well done. Okay. All good? And that'll be all right. The thing on the bottom there is a little thing there, and that's a scar. It's called a bud scar because this one budded off from, like this one's budding off, this one here budded off from another one. So they have what's called a bud scar. Okay, but I don't think you'd ever be asked that. It's a little bit too technological for year 8. Okay? All right. Moving on to the next one. Let's do animal cells first. All right? Or do you want me to do the difference between plant cells and animal cells?
Whatever's easiest.
Sorry?
Whatever's easiest. Maybe animal cells.
Okay. Or should we'll do a plant cell because that's harder than an animal cell. And plant cells have some things. And then I can say what animal cells do or don't have. Okay? Right. So do you want me to make it sort of look like the diagram you've got?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
It just looks like a stop sign.
It looks like a who?
A stop sign.
Stop a minute.
That's what the...
Ours looks like a stop sign.
Right, fine.
Can you like stop in the middle?
Sorry?
Can you like stop in the middle? Like,
This is science. We have to take it seriously. I'm one of the most serious people I know. And I'm knowing you today because I might not see you tomorrow, especially if you've told your mother. Because I wouldn't say it to my father. Or maybe you should. Say it to one and then the other and see what the difference in the reaction would be. Your mother would probably take it more seriously. Your father go, okay. Right. So, in our diagram, we've got up here what's that one look like? Nucleus. What does the nucleus do?
Holds DNA.
Holds the DNA. Well done. Now attached to the nucleus, what have we got there?
So,
Endo.
The endoplasmic reticulum. We've got one half, the top one have the dots, and the bottom one doesn't have the dots. So what's the one with the dots called? Rough. And what does it make and transport? Proteins. So the dots are actually ribosomes, and we can put some more ribosomes here. So ribosomes can be by themselves or on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum that doesn't have any ribosomes, what does that make and transport? Starts with C. Ends in carbohydrates. You are quite gifted. Carbohydrates. So that's the rough and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Ooh, now this one has a Golgi apparatus down here. Now remember, the cell is 3D, and we're only doing a section through the cell. All right. So now if we put down here. What do we call that one? Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus, sometimes called a Golgi body, sometimes called a Golgi complex. Okay? Okay? Then, look, because it's a plant cell, we've got two things. I'll draw one of them here. Okay? In this diagram, this one looks like it's got sort of like that. What's that one called? Sorry? No, that's...
Mitochondria.
This one has that's a terrible... That's one of the worst chloroplasts I've ever drawn.
Which one is...
All right, which one's the mitochondrium and which one's the chloroplast?
The one with the cloud thing right in the middle.
Cloud?
It looks
You don't find clouds inside mitochondrium.
The one with the pink slather. It looks like mitochondrion, that one. And then
this is the mitochondrium.
Yeah, and then the one that looks like a book.
Looks like a book.
Yeah, because it's like the writing and then
That
one is the chloroplast.
That one is the chloroplast.
Which one's the mitochondrion? I can't see.
All right, the one with the in the middle is the mitochondrion. Sorry? Yeah, the green ones. Yeah. So the blue ones are the mitochondrion, and the green ones are the chloroplasts. That's what I'm saying. The blue one, I've got mito because it's got the technical name for it is in the middle. All right, and the one that looks like the book, apparently, is the chloroplast. What does a mitochondrion do? What does it make?
Energy.
Oh, but what do we call the energy?
ATP.
ATP. What does ATP stand for?
I've got no clue.
Starts with A, ends in adenosine triphosphate.
Adenosine triphosphate.
Or that, or adenosine triphosphate. But that's why we shorten it to ATP. Right. Yes? So the mitochondrion is making ATP. And it's the site of what process?
Makes sense.
Starts with C, ends in cellular respiration.
Cellular respiration.
You guys need hardly any clues at all. All right. Then the chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. Well done.
No
I just
clue.
write PHS for photosynthesis. Some people like to use big words to make themselves seem like photosynthesis. They just use random big words like photosynthesis. It makes them seem smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's just a bluff. I actually don't know any of this.
Mm.
Right. Okay. Ooh, then we've got what would that be?
The vowels.
The who?
The vowels.
Bacula.
The valicule. The vacuole.
You guys are butchering that word. Whoever invented the word vacuole is now turning in their grave. This is the vacuole. Now, the vacuole inside a plant cell is large and permanent. Large and and what does permanent mean?
Stays there
It's
forever.
always there. What else have we got there? All right. There's a few starch granules in there. You can see them as the purple dots. All right. And there's like, put them right in the middle. There's the starch granules. Yeah, so there's one there, and then they put another one over here to store starch. Yep. Now I'll write here what plant cells have, and then I can say things that plant cells don't have that animal cells do have. So we'll write over here, because you do need to know the difference between plant cells and animal cells. So plants have chloroplasts, but animal cells don't. Because animal cells, you guys don't photosynthesize in your animals. Yeah? Or maybe you do.
Maybe I do.
Right. They have a large vacuole, large and permanent. Large permanent vacuole. And what does that hold? Starts with W. And, oh, you are. You didn't even need that second clue. There was pretty limited options. Things that starts with W that it holds. Oh, watermelons? No.
WD-40.
Sorry?
It could hold WD-40.
Oh, okay. So it's large and permanent. Okay. It also has a cell wall. What is the cell wall of a plant cell made of? Ooh. Starts with C.
Cellulose.
Cellulose. Well, you didn't even butcher that very much then. Every other word you've said have been completely butchered. But this one, the cell wall, is made of cellulose. Okay? So if a question says what are 3 things that a plant cell has that an animal cell doesn't, you can say it has chloroplasts, it has a large permanent vacuole, and it has a cell wall made of cellulose. Right?
We would need to know what the cells are made of for the test.
Well, you need to.
Well, we need to know what the cell walls are made of for each.
It's always good to know. It's always good to know more knowledge than less, don't you think?
Yeah.
And then when you go into Mr. McLaughlin's class, you can go, hey, Mr. McLaughlin, what's the cell wall of a plant cell made of? And he'll go, and then you'll be able to go, bam, cellulose.
Yeah.
Or you can say to him, what's the cell wall of a bacterium made of? And you can go, bam,
That's like a rhetorical question.
peptidoglycan, sir. Or you can say to him, hey, Mr. McLaughlin, what's the cell wall of a fungi made of, Mr. McLaughlin? And then you can go, bam, chitin, bam, cool. Yeah? Then he'll go, he might do to drop the mic. Just walk away and say, you can teach my class.
Yeah.
You never know.
Can you teach my class?
All right. Now we'll do what animal cells have that plant cells don't. So we'll go over here. Swap sides. See that? Swapping sides. Right? Right. So animal cells. Now we'll go down here. Plants have a large permanent vacuole, but animal cells have small transient. What's transient mean?
Does it temporary?
Ooh, you'd think so.
Vanishes and comes back.
Magician.
Very Harry Potter. Small and transient.
Transparent.
When at the moment you're stationary, yes, but when you go home, you're going to be transient.
Moves
around, yes. So here, the vacuole here is small and transient. Vacuole. Okay. Don't want my one pack to obscure the screen. Yep. Then up here, animal cells have something that plant cells don't. They have centrioles.
Are they these little
What?
things?
Sorry?
Are they
The little pair of things. Yep. So what do centrioles do? What are they used for?
They're used in cell division.
Cell division. Well done. So when they separate, it gets a little clothesline between them. All right. It also has lysosomes. What's a lysosome do?
Break down matter.
Breaks down matter like food. Because plant cells, you might have noticed, don't go hunting stuff. All right. They make their own food through photosynthesis, but animal cells do hunt food, and when they catch it, they break it down in a lysosome. Yes.
What about like the fly trap thing? Because they like find get.
But are they hunting? And are they eating the cell?
Does me going to coals count as hunting?
Sorry?
Does me going to coals count as hunting?
Are you a plant?
No, I'm an animal cell. You said they hunt.
But you are made up of... Well,
Hunting instinct.
in evolutionary terms, you need to find your food. You don't just... Because you don't photosynthesize, from what we understand.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do.
You walk to coals, that's
So in evolutionary terms, your cells need to find food and then break it down. You don't make your own food. Yep. All right.
Mr. Fowler, I have another question.
I have an answer.
Why do animal cells only have a mitochondria, but plant cells need a mitochondria and a chloroplast?
Because plant cells, as we were just saying, don't go hunting for food. They have to make their own food, and then they use that food in their mitochondria to make ATP,
Ah, right. So they like produce the glucose, which goes straight into the mitochondria.
which is then used within the cell for cellular respiration inside the mitochondria.
Ah, right. Interesting. Curious.
We were just discussing the fact that these young ladies don't photosynthesize, so they need to eat. Or then some of them said maybe they do photosynthesize.
Oh, in that case, you
Okay.
might be
All good? And we can say the plant cells have a fixed shape. What gives them their fixed shape?
The cell wall.
The cell wall gives them their fixed shape. But animal cells, because they don't have a cell wall, they have a changing or flexible shape. All good? And now you know everything there is to know about cells. And next week we'll talk about microscopes. If you arrive. If you know,
I'll come.
well, you might not come now that you know that if you follow Juliet, you end up at these sorts of things.
No, but I will. Because then you're there.
Oh, Julia
Well, I-
worked out.
I just make this stuff up. All of this is just lies.
Oh, I asked Liv if she was coming, and then she said
I was
that
like,
she'd come if
I'll
I was
come.
coming, and then Liv asked. And then
Told
Liv
you
was
to
looking
watch
up my
it.
bike.
Yeah, I looked Jodie's bike so she can't leave.
Oh, so you're made to learn.
Yeah.
Oh. But now you'll be the smartest in Mr. Cotter's class.
Unless
No?
I watch the video.
Sorry?
Unless I watch the video.
But would they go on and watch this video?
I doubt it.
Yeah, don't think they will either.
Actually,
Anyway, so shall we finish it there?
okay.
Now, if you need some more of those sheets, you just need to ask and I'll print some more off for you. All right. What I do sometimes for my students is I laminate them so that you can use those whiteboard markers on them, and you can write on them and then wipe them off, and you can use them for study. Okay. But if you want more, just need to let me know. All good?